Hello everyone, welcome to a new discussion with me, Matthasnocuts, JaydenXV, premydaremy, and Sam Procrastinates. Today, we're going to be talking about Sonic Frontiers, all of our thoughts about the game, the ins and outs and all that. We have some questions from Twitter that we're going to be answering that you guys have for our opinions on Sonic Frontiers, and this is basically a continuation of the two discussion videos we made before the release of Sonic Frontiers. If you want to watch that, go ahead, but this video is going to be completely detached from that one, so you can watch this without having to watch those two videos. Anyways, let's get into it. First thing we want to get off right off the bat, during our pre-release discussion, where we were talking about our thoughts about Sonic Frontiers before the game released, where none of us have played it. It turned out Sam had played the game. Well, what's that?
I knew it from the jump.
What's that all about,
Nah,
Sam?
bro. Why would you think I? Wait. How would you know that?
I don't know, man. Something about a Brazilian Sonic Symphony going on. You had to provide footage, thus implying that you had the game as you were talking about the pre-release discussion.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta navigate that fine line between working on something official and being a content creator talking about said thing. So, I did it.
How? Was that your honest thought? Like, were you giving your honest thoughts about the game during the pre-release
Oh yeah,
discussion,
no,
or?
everything I talked about was very, everything I talked about is not nullified. Like, I still talked about everything in terms of the trailers and my mindset with what was officially released.
We gotta go back and see if there's some loopholes. Like if you mentioned something that wasn't in the footage that we knew about.
But no, everything I talked about is still legit. Yeah, obviously, I have to use words like, "Oh, I hope they have this," and obviously I would know the answer, but that doesn't mean
I hope they do this and they haven't done it.
But that doesn't mean what I'm hoping for is still not what I don't hope for. It's like,
So you were looking at it from a perspective of someone who hasn't played the game yet, or
exactly,
your old thought.
Hopefully the cyberspace physics get improved by release, and he's played the game like they don't.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
All right, well, with that said, we're just going to go individually by everyone here. Everyone's thoughts about Sonic Frontiers, their general thoughts. We'll start with Jayden.
Okay. General thoughts on Frontiers. I think that Sonic Team, I think they did it. They did something right for, the first time in, 10 years, I feel like. And overall, I think it's a pretty good game. They got the feeling right. That was the thing I was the most concerned about, was how the game was going to feel. Everyone was saying, oh, it's going to be like forces controls in an open world, but it wasn't. And I think the story overall was great, so that's another good thing. Well, there's some things about it, it's a little but I think the cyberspace, I'm going to get into this later, but thought it was terrible, but now it's not as terrible. And I guess the graphics, are also great. So those are my general thoughts on the game.
All right. And Prem?
Well, I did make a video called Sonic Frontiers Things I Was Wrong About. And basically, to summarize what I said in that, although you should still watch it, but to summarize, I basically said that pre-release, I kind of felt like the game was a 6.5 to 7 for specific reasons. And then when I played the game, I gave it a 7, but the reasons I thought that I didn't like the game were the wrong reasons, and I actually found completely different reasons after playing. So I thought the control would be bad, but it wasn't in the open world. I thought the story would be amazing, but I didn't really care about it when I played the game, etc., etc. So overall, it's a decent game, but it definitely feels like, even with the amount of time they were given, they still managed to find ways to cut a lot of corners. And it's a bit upsetting because they had a solid foundation, but they decided to rush it out the gate, especially with the ending.
All right. And Sam?
I think this is Sonic Team struck something for the first time. They've been digging nothing, but they found something nice, something polishy. But they need to. There's still more work to be done. This is a solid foundation. It's a great title to start the new era of Sonic, I think. Yeah, the game is not perfect at all. It has flaws, many flaws, but no game is ever perfect.
Except Heroes.
But yeah, calm down, friend.
Well, hold on there.
No game's ever perfect, but what this game does good, it does really well, and that's what holds it up for me. So yeah, in the end, I really like this game. It's a good game, and I recommend if you're a Sonic fan, pick it up. If you're curious of jumping into the series, pick it up. If you never liked Sonic to begin with, you might find something here that you see for the first time that you haven't seen before in any other Sonic game. So, it's a good game. Obviously, more work to be done though. In the end, it wasn't perfect.
Yeah. All right. My thoughts are the game is fun. It's probably the funnest game I've ever played with a lot of issues. Like there is so many issues. I think Prem said something last video that I kind of resonate very well with, and it's that you can point out like a million issues with this game, but it's still kind of fun to play regardless. And that was kind of my thoughts on the game. Is there is a ton of issues with the game, but I can't lie and say that I wasn't addicted for like the first 2 playthroughs I was playing through it. I think it's a great Sonic game, great return to form, all that. Sonic Frontiers is awesome. It's better than Sonic Heroes, but
Oh yeah, easily.
I guess we're lying today then. Okay.
Easily. All right. So this question, this might be interesting. Do you guys feel that Sonic Frontiers was worth the 5-year wait?
No.
Yes, Prem's going first. Go ahead.
Okay, sure, I'll go first. First of all, it was an 11-year wait because just because Force was 5 years ago doesn't mean wait 5 years. We waited 11 years since an actual good 3D Sonic game. But even with 5 years, no, because the amount of corners they cut, you would think that it was a 2-year game, right? I mean, Generations came out a year after Colors, right? And that was like an 8 out of 10. So, like, why are we waiting 5 years for half or more than half of the islands?
2 hours long, Prem.
Yeah, but Frontiers is an open zone, and the standards have risen since 2011. And they want to charge, what, $60,
The
$70?
standards have risen, but the team has shrunken, bro.
Yes, but that's the problem, though. That's the problem. They asked if it was worth a 5-year wait, right? We know that, actual reputable companies have bigger teams so they can get things done in less time. Because their team is so small, we have to wait half a decade to get a game that they used to be able to put out in like 2 years. So it's like, would I say that's worth 5 years? Not really. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. It just means that I wouldn't want to wait half a decade. Remember, you only get like maybe 15, 16 half decades in your whole life, and then you're gone. So, like, I'd rather they do that in 2 years if they're gonna cut corners, or if you're gonna spend 5, then really make it big budget and extend the scope of it and not use Chronos 3 times and end with a bullet hell.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you in a sense that, like, for 5 years of work, this doesn't really feel like 5 years of work. This feels like more of 2, maybe 3, because yeah, there was a lot of cut corners. They kind of split up Chronos into 3 different islands. Cyberspace is the definition of cutting corners. So yeah, there is a lot of cut corners, but I know this is kind of stupid for a Sonic fan to say, but it's about the next 5 years. Hopefully, the next 5 years will actually be worth the wait now that they know what they're doing with Open Zone, I guess. That's why I feel a lot better about the 5-year wait than I should.
I need to say something about that. I need to say something. One sec. Because, I mean, you're like, what, exactly 10 years younger than me, right?
Maybe, perhaps.
So that means I was around your age when Generations came out, and I was like, well, they got the formula now. Hopefully, the next game, they just take that, make it original, make it a bit tougher, a bit longer, and we're set, right? So now everyone's saying Frontiers is this great foundation for a sequel, and I guess it is technically, but will they do it? Will they pull it off?
I want to, I was going to bring that up later on with a different topic on this discussion, but yeah, that is very possible, but it's also very possible that Frontiers, is the controversial apology letter, like paying homage to Sonic Unleashed, and then they drop something like Sonic Colors next. I still don't think it's better than Sonic Unleashed, but it's kind of clear that they were trying to make improvements, and quality-wise, I feel like majority of people would enjoy Colors more than Unleashed, and then Generations came out
heavily
with that.
Because clearly, or not, maybe not clearly, but it seems like they have a plan this time. Sonic games in the past don't feel like they had like a plan. It's just, okay, Colors, okay, Gens, and then Lost World all of a sudden, and then Boom Era. Like, there's no plan going forward with those games. And Frontiers, it feels like they want to keep doing this for like the next 10 years. So yeah, they're gonna make another open world game. It'd be stupid of them not to. And they hinted at it in so many interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to kind of look at the business side of things in conjunction with what exactly is happening with the games. So I like to look at the business side of things along with the games, and I look back to what was happening back during Generations and all that stuff. Because you mentioned they changed the formula, and then So the way I look at it is the team back then was bigger, and they made a smaller game, in a shorter time. This game, the way I look at it is like this: when you ask was this worth the last 5 years? In terms of a general gamer, no, obviously not. Like when it comes to game companies, you would expect something huge, but for someone like me, I guess I keep I always think about the fact that this is the current Sonic team, not the Sonic team from 2000s, 2010s. This is the current Sonic team, the Forces Sonic team, the Lost World Sonic team.
Ooh. I mean, that's fair.
That's fair. And while that's not an excuse, it's not an excuse. It just bases it in realism, and I totally see this being the game that came out within 5 years.
I think my problem is that it's fine if we want to accept that they're a smaller team now. But
it's not that I'm accepting it. So here's my point: is that I feel like, and if you guys know about this, Sega went through huge
restructuring off the boom.
They had to shut down their San Francisco office, and they moved to Burbank, which, spoiler alert, is a much smaller office. They downsized, and I think it's because of financial hardships, especially after Lost World was made by the B team, right? Their A team left at that point, and they had severe financial problems, especially when Boom came around. That was a nail in the coffin. So that resulted in games like Forces, where we wait close to, like you said, 5 years, right? And we got a game that lasted no more than 3 hours. What the hell is this? So yeah, with the team that we had then making a game like this, definitely an improvement, but does it make it worth the wait? Obviously not. But when it comes to Sonic Team, I could definitely see the improvements. I think it's important to acknowledge that. Now, I guess we could quickly go to the next point here, which is that there seem to be hiring, Sega Japan. They're hiring more people after Frontiers, and I feel like that's a good sign. I think they see the fact that this team put out something. It's making them revenue, a good amount of revenue. So let's
hope it ends well. And honestly, that was a very depressing response you gave us.
Yeah. I think this segues into another point, because I think there was a question you showed in the Discord that said, what would we say, the meta era is over or something like that?
Oh boy.
And
you want to actually jump to that right now? All right.
Yeah, because I got a few things to say.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys feel like the meta era is over, or do you think a new era is upon us?
It's a new era.
I think the better question is, what makes meta?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go there. First of all, I've got two things to say. First thing, I honestly believe this is the multimedia era, because the multimedia is the reason why Sonic's name is at the top. The reason why they're probably even able to convince Sega to delay Frontiers a year so that it didn't turn out like another Forces.
Facts.
But if we want to talk about the games in particular, are we still in the meta era? I did make a video last year talking about what I determined to be the 6 Infinity Stones of the 2010s. And the six stones were
Oh my, here we go.
Pontaff, Classic
Yeah.
Sonic, Unoriginality, also known as the Green Hill Stone, 2D Sections, Whis, and Roger. That was my own personal analysis.
Why Roger? Why did
Because because his
That's the
shifting of the
one
character
thing.
for a lot of people made people less or relate less to
was it
Sonic.
his shifting though? Because he doesn't control what the character
Yeah,
said.
honestly, him and Frontiers was pretty.
Yeah, but Pontaff is a point as well, though. So it's like the two together. But yeah, so those are the 6 I had. And when I look at Frontiers, 3 are gone. So for me, the games are in this kind of like half meta era state where you still got the unoriginality, you still got the 2D sections, and you haven't really got classic Sonic, but you've got the classic influence like the springs and all that stuff there. So it's kind of like this half-ish meta era kind of situation, you know?
I feel like the main things, I guess, out of those stones that I care about are gone. So, especially characterization. Like, to me, that's a big deal for Sonic. And with Frontiers, that completely changed, I feel like. I mean, still Roger, you could say Roger,
like Roger.
you know, takes away from Sonic or whatnot. But that's just a voice. Like, switch it to Japanese or whatever. It's not Roger. It's the writing is still the same. So, I feel
I'm
like...
sorry, Premi. I'm throwing those stones out the window.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you say is the meta era then?
I'm going to make this very simple. Saturday morning cartoon. That's literally it. The series acted like a Saturday morning cartoon. Where
Bad
the game
one.
before did it happen, it's like the world reset and they just have a new adventure and it's very basic in that regard. That in and of itself is meta. Like that's what it is them acknowledging we are cartoon characters. I am cartoon. I will act like cartoon. That's
Yeah, I mean, that's just a longer way of saying Pontaff though.
Baldy.
I mean,
wasn't
no,
encompassing-
yeah, like it does come down to like the writers. Yeah, you're right, but it's essentially the whole meta era is just Sonic was acting like a Saturday morning cartoon when it should have been acting like a shonen.
Yeah. I mean, that was like the main, like why they named it the meta era, right? I was just saying the whole 2010s in general, from the gameplay and everything.
No, you're right. From 2020 is when it started, and in my opinion, I do think it's a new era. We're definitely
I do agree.
We're
entering
not
something
calling it the
new.
Band-Aid
Is
era.
it? Are we
It's the
completely?
multimedia era. That is what it is.
It's the multimedia era. Like for me,
Is it like a completely like? Are we going back to 2001 Sonic? Hell no.
no.
Like that stuff is not gonna fly nowadays. But we're definitely going more like Dragon Ball Z running on Disney. like we're going that route. Like we're kind of in the middle, like you mentioned. Like you mentioned half meta, but I don't think we're gonna go like meta again. Like they're gonna start taking. I feel like they're taking themselves seriously. There's gonna be continuity, and I feel like that is enough to like.
No, like when I
completely.
say half meta, I don't mean like from the story standpoint, because that's like a separate thing. I just meant based on the 6 points, they were retaining like 2 to 2.5 of them. So not specifically the story section.
2D sections one.
Pardon?
What's wrong with 2D sections?
Yeah, honestly.
Well, it's more like the overuse of it, right? 'Cause, like for example, like Chaos Island just was like really overusing.
Yeah,
the
okay,
2D.
yeah, I will say that was.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
But
And then the unoriginality as well, like the cyberspace being like 3,
Oh, yeah.
4 themes over and over again for 30 levels. Like that was a big for me. Like unoriginality and 2D, like are the big ones, especially unoriginality, because I feel like Sonic was cool because he had these wacky zones. Like you had like Mario 1, which was just like the same environments, a lot of the same music reused over and over again. And then Sonic 1 is just like this zone and then that zone and then that zone, and it was just so cool. And I feel like they lost that in the meta era, where it's like we're shamefully gonna just use Green Hill again, Chemical Pond again, we'll use Sky Sanctuary, and it just lost that. Oh, what's this cool new environment? What's that cool new environment? And the Cyberspace kind of felt like a slap in the face.
I
With the
feel
way
like-
it just took everything.
I feel like cyberspace was not a creative decision.
Yeah, I feel like Sega was like, put it in.
I don't even know if it was like a Sega put it in type thing. I think it's like this game needs something and we are out of money. What are we doing? And that's all they had.
Ooh.
Like,
That's
I
not
feel
how
like-
they made it seem, though. They made it seem like they wanted to aid those who liked the old games.
They tried to write it into the story,
Yeah.
and you know they tried. Like a keyword there, tried. I'm not buying it. If you guys watched my review, I literally mentioned that too, or like my non-spoiler review, I mentioned like they try to write this off, but I'm not buying it. It just like it feels cheap and it feels lazy, and like that's what it is. And I feel like it. Well, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily lazy after playing it. It just feels like this game needed something supplementary to complement the open world. They thought about like the boost gameplay to have it like kind of like a special stage, which I like the idea of. It gives the boost like its place, that reactionary gameplay style, but the execution came off as like our budget is no longer existing, so we got to use what we have. And that's something I'll just say for the later half of the game is the main problems that I feel like I have with this game, especially by the time we get to like Island 4 and 5, is it doesn't feel like creativity ran out. It just feels like the budget ran out, and it's like that's where again I point to Sega and I'm like, hey, like
I think
this team has ideas. They have ideas. They need the resources to make it like pull through all the way to the end, and that's why I think the bigger team, the bigger budget will go a long way.
You know, when Sega's making cyberspace levels which are worse than Sonic Heroes levels, they messed up. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Okay, every Sonic game levels are worse than Sonic Heroes level, but at the end of the day, the thing about cyberspace is that like I don't think it was like a shoved in thing because of budget. I really do believe it was part of their intention because, and Kishimoto said this himself. He said they were doing focus tests for the game like before they like redid it over and over again, and they said people liked the cyberspace more than the open zone, so they had to keep reworking the open zone until people liked it. On top of that, games that they would have taken inspiration from, like Breath of the Wild or even Mario Odyssey, they have those kind of little areas where you do separate things from the main open gameplay, right? So I feel like when they were looking at the blueprints, they're thinking, okay, we're going to use our standard boost levels as the cyberspace, and that will tie into the open zone. I don't think it was like a Sega add in these Green Hill zones or otherwise these Sonic fans won't like the game kind of situation. And I definitely think the way they executed it was very lazy, you know, because it was just a ton of reusing. The only person who made something new for cyberspace is probably Otani, and well, your mileage may vary on that.
Prem's canceled on Twitter.
Everyone's mad at me because I'm not in love with all the EDM.
I mean, no, people got mad at me for saying that. I called cyberspace lazy before too, and I had a whole canceled thread about me.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus.
Oh yeah,
it is lazy. Like, what the do you call it? It is lazy. It is lazy. After
It's
playing
lazy,
the game,
but
is like, do I see the other point of it where it's like maybe it was like budget thing, but it is still lazy at the end of the day. But yet, like it's lazy. It probably when people look at it that way, it's still lazy on Sega's part at the very least. Like not giving them the budget they need or making them resort to resources they've had for like 10 plus years. That is lazy.
What if they did
a lazy action, not necessarily lazy developers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, either way, we won't know which one it truly is because we don't know what it's like development wise. But either way, it is lazy.
How many times did they restart development? Was it just once or twice?
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it was like they kept going back and reworking everything.
Because I feel like they probably did have the budget, but they probably just couldn't get the game to be the way they wanted to at first. So they probably just used up so much money. And it's like, yo, cyberspace, just spam it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is gonna be like a. God, I regret mentioning this game, and promise me, Matt, after I talk about this, we move on to the questions because I know when I mentioned this title, we're going to be here for another 30 minutes. I feel like this is going to be an Unleashed situation where people's takeaway of that game was boost good, Hedgehog bad. People's takeaway of this was open world good, cyberspace bad. So hopefully going forward, they just take that feedback. Open world good, stick with that.
Well,
Have you guys done
I
I
any
actually made a
polls
video on that as
for like
well.
cyberspace
I think
and asking people's thoughts on cyberspace? Because
I did.
like the consensus I see is that people actually like it.
I did a
Surprising.
poll. I did multiple polls actually on
they're
my last
gaslighting
stream.
themselves.
I did a poll on my last stream actually yesterday, and I was ranking cyberspace against other Sonic games, like just cyberspace on its own, and the consensus was that the only thing cyberspace was better than was Forces.
I could see
Okay.
that because Forces was
Congrats
so
for
automatic.
cyberspace.
I could see that because Forces was so automatic, it was boring. Cyberspace, you actually have to be attentive, even though it controls like butt. I'll say this though, like
Booty.
I will say this though too, like my analogy with Unleashed could probably even be seen as incorrect in my opinion because I don't hate the concept of cyberspace. Like I don't hate the concept. Like I didn't like the concept of the Werehog. I thought it was stupid. I'm sorry, but I do like the concept of cyberspace, the boost style being treated like special stages. I like that concept. I
Yeah,
just
me
don't
too.
like just the whole, replaying just old levels. Like that's not the way to do it. But like,
Don't like the
it's
Warhawk.
not something they have to throw out entirely.
I think they
But
saw
they-
how Mania worked, where it was like, oh, we took this level design from the classics and then we reworked it and we made a game that people say is better. And they thought we could do that for cyberspace. And
I
then it was
actually
like,
think there's more original
no.
than there is reused, like in terms
What?
of layout. I think there is.
All right.
That's up for debate. I don't know quite yet.
Because
You know,
I know
I will-
there's some levels that have like a piece of another level, but like there's a lot of original stuff in cyberspace.
Yeah,
like
they-
even what was it 1-7, the City Escape level, most of that's not really City Escape.
Yeah, they took old levels and turned them into mid. It was unfortunate.
But
right.
anyways,
Let's continue. We were on that subject for a long time. What's your thoughts on the final boss? How it was handled, and
Dear Lord.
how was Sage? Your thoughts on
God.
how Sage was handled near the end of the story. So, what's your thoughts on the ending of Sonic Frontiers by VMeg17?
Mid.
their money ran out. Go ahead, Prime. I'll continue later.
So disappointing.
Izuka said years ago when people were begging for a return for Hypersonic, the reason we don't bring back Hypersonic is because people are going to expect a new form every game and it will get old and stale. And when I was playing Frontiers,
That's
I
cap.
thought about that point because it's like, yeah, every island has got a Supersonic boss. It doesn't hit the same when you have to do it like 4 times, right? And then you're thinking, okay, well, they're going to have to create a new form for the ending to make it truly epic. At the bare minimum, it's just going to be ending with Supersonic and feel underwhelming, right? But they managed to find a way to make it worse than that. Like, and like, how did you do that? You might as well just not have that ending there. Just had it been Supersonic. At least they'll be like, oh, okay, there was no new form. That sucks. But you managed to find a way to make it worse than that.
Yeah, I'm. Why? The thing is, like, the dialogue of the end and the music and the atmosphere of the final boss is literally like 10 out of 10. It's just why? Why is it like Ikaruga? That was the one thing wrong. It was they were so close, so close.
Just make Cybersonic
I
some
fully
crazy
agree.
cyber form and then just have a cool
Yep.
the end boss or whatever. You and Sage team up like Chip and fucking Sonic and End of Unleashed. Call it a
There's
day.
nothing wrong with giving us a
So,
new form. Like every game.
exactly. I fully agree. In fact, you know what's funny is Sonic's idle animations throughout the game. I feel like that was also the team's like mental state every time they were getting further into the game, and you could just tell by the end of the game
Yeah,
they just collapsed on the floor, like there was nothing left.
we
Like-
can't keep going.
But like, what's so frustrating is like I would look back the Ikaruga, I would look past the Ikaruga like extra boss if the fucking Supreme wasn't a cakewalk. Like if they gave him like I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
double the damn health or something. So I saw people looking at the files and apparently he has like one of the lowest health bars out of all of them, and it makes no damn sense. And that's a main problem I think Frontiers has
Oh,
is there's
stupid.
zero balancing. In cyberspace and bosses and difficulty and
One
time,
verse 2.
no one balanced this shit whatsoever.
Yeah,
And it's like I don't know why would that boss have 50% the health of like others? What are you doing? This is the final boss. Make it like
Giganto DLC.
Like that, like I genuinely think that should be like hot fixed, like patch that. Like that's ridiculous. Like it's so weird too because I played the final boss, the final Supreme boss. I like flew around it and like the yellow that like shoots at you to pushes you back. It gets pretty crazy in the later part of the boss, but you just never see it because you're wailing on him and you kill him so quick.
But is the health bar really half the length, or is it just because you're stronger?
So, no, well, I think it's both. From what I understand is the first boss was at 75, the second boss is at 50, the third boss I think is at 60, and the final boss is at 50, like the second boss. Yeah. It's like why?
You also do more damage depending on your power.
Yeah,
level.
And in conjunction with the fact that you leveled up throughout the whole game, so I was like, what do you do?
And those bosses were not satisfactory to me in my opinion, but something else that kind of annoyed me about the ending was how they just kind of revived Sage just like that.
Oh yeah.
Post-credit
thing. I mean, like I was feeling it with Eggman. I was like, man, he lost Sage. That's sad. Literally, like less than 2 minutes later, she's back. It's like, what?
It's funny because I didn't know she was an AI because I wasn't paying that much attention to the story. I thought Eggman actually fucked. So when he like when he like revived her, and I was like, wait, so she was a code this whole time? I was a bit like,
bro.
So you didn't.
Wait, you didn't. Wait, what?
Oh my god, bro! No,
bro, you were just not even paying attention to the story. It was very obvious.
Sam, you got to sit with the game for like 4 weeks by yourself. I was streaming. I was interacting with chat.
Literally, like, did you listen to every cutscene? Like,
yeah, but she was like a physical form. I didn't realize she was like floating code. Like, I was a bit confused.
So let me get this straight. While all of us were disappointed that Sage was brought back to life, you were disappointed that Eggman didn't lay pipe.
He should have piped. Like,
oh my god.
I thought he had like a family, like a daughter, like a baby mom. I was like, oh, she was code. So you just like, fixed the code and she's back. So why were you so sad in the first place?
So I have theories about that, and it's definitely disappointing to me. Like they're very quickly like resolving the fact that she just died. It's like there's no room for grief at all.
Yeah, that was stupid.
But it depends on where they go from here. Do you think the Sage going forward is going to be the same Sage or a different Sage?
I mean, what happened to Infinite after Forces?
Both ways, it feels wrong. Like
it does feel wrong
with how,
because it reminds me of Shadow. It's like if it's a different Sage,
I don't know,
but you're just treating it like
worse.
Shadow. It's like this is a different Shadow. It's not the same.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
It's like worse because Sage, if this is the same Sage that was throughout the game, like Sage influences Eggman to make morally correct decisions. If this is the same Sage, is Eggman just not gonna be a villain anymore? Because I doubt Sage would help Eggman fight Sonic. That
I don't know where they're going from here. I don't know where they're going from here. That's where I'm lost. It's like regarding Eggman specifically, like the dying breath of Sage was look after my father, and then Sonic proceeds to not give a single about her, laugh with his friends, leaves on the tornado.
Whoa,
Eggman is sad, left to grieve alone. Rebuild Sage. And I'm like, where are we going with this? Is Sonic not gonna try to kill Eggman next game? Is like if this is a different Sage, like going forward? Because here's the reason I believe that is because Sage mentions in a cutscene, if you were listening, Prem, she said Sonic asks her, "So did Eggman build you?" She says, "He built my base code, but when I connected to cyberspace, the scope of my capabilities became way more advanced."
She did say that. Yeah, she did say that.
So Sage wasn't fully completely built by Eggman the way she was acting. I believe because she was connected to cyberspace, she became more alive. The Sage that he just built at the end, though, it does show the Ancients logo. So maybe she's still connected to cyberspace, and that's how he was able to regain her.
Okay, Lord Masters. Then tell me, what does the zap mean then?
Zap?
From that first trailer, the zap. What does that mean?
It means mid.
It means the light is on, so you could come in and get a free donut. It's just like Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we
what it
need
means,
to
man.
kick Sam
You know,
from the podcast.
Eggman turns it on to see the.
Yeah, no. So
GP's keyboard.
that symbol, they almost pulled. I say they almost pulled Infinite again. And the logo shows up in the game. I'll give them that. Does it mean
Props.
anything? No.
So you see why I don't follow these stories. I mean, like that whole logo that they hyped up before the title of the game. And you don't even know what it is.
Dude, I knew that. I literally even said that in a video. I was like, this logo's not gonna mean anything. Like, the last one was on the
Yeah.
bottom of Infinite Shoes.
I
Like
remember
that
someone
was
on
it.
Twitter
That was it.
saying that it means rebirth, pretty much.
Yeah, no,
Oh, that does make sense for Sage.
my
Because
friends,
you
my
see it
friends
every time
had
my
a
Coco's
theory.
die.
Yeah, no, Evan from Tails Channel had a theory. Wait, what did you say? Said it was rebirth.
The symbol.
The symbol, it means like rebirth, and then it pops up and Sage comes
Where did you
back.
get that from? Where does it say that?
It was someone on Twitter. Hold on, I have
Someone
to
on
link
Twitter.
The most
Okay, 'cause-
reliable source.
there.
So no, so I mean Tails
Like a
Channel,
Reddit thread.
Evan from Tails Channel had a theory which makes sense to me too, and it kind of matches the theme. He thinks it means I'm here,
Oh my.
and every time that pops up, it's the ancients letting them know like we're still here.
Man, he put more thought into that than the actual team.
Yeah, I
What if-
know.
what if
Exactly.
Sage is
So, like,
actually
I do feel like
an ancient?
what's I will say this at the bare minimum. What's great about this versus like the Infinite logo is the fact that there could be a meaning. They just need to fucking tell us what it is. They didn't, which sucks. But if they did tell us what the meaning is, it would connect quite well. They just need to tell us. I don't know. Maybe they will in a comic. Maybe. I hope. They need to.
I think it means Sonic Unleashed port coming November 2023.
That's what it means. That is what it means.
Close.
In fact, every time Premi wakes up, he'll see that logo like on his ceiling.
Nice. I'll see it too. All right. So for the next question, what are some things that you would want to see changed about the open zone formula or whatever Sonic Frontiers was in the next game, the sequel,
Please don't
asked
say
by
momentum.
Sunshine
Please
X?
don't say momentum.
Everyone back
Oh,
up.
I'm going to
Back
say momentum. Yes.
Everyone back up. I got this. Listen.
Momentum.
When I look at that next game in the open world, I better fly out of my seat. My head better pop off my shoulders. Did you guys see my reaction to Frontiers open world? It was like, eh. So listen,
That was mine too.
the next game, this is the main thing. Like everything. So first off, when it comes to base gameplay, like everyone else is saying here, like slight touching up of his controls, very slight. Keep this as a foundation, but like fix his double jump, fix his forward momentum on the double jump, fix his
Yes.
turning in midair because it controls like Mario 64.
Spin dash.
And yeah, no, spin dashing and essentially his jump physics, which he has on rails, give to him on foot. That's it.
There was
There you
so
go.
many times when playing Sonic Frontiers where I saw a slope or a ramp and I just had my like
Oh,
Sonic
yeah.
Adventure
And then-
1 energy
then,
flowing. I
yeah.
wanted to spin dash so
The
badly.
And here
bridge
comes
in
part
Chaos
two.
Island as well.
And here comes part two of this whole thing is like when you have that foundation built, now make a world with that in mind. Everything you saw floating above the world in Frontiers, I want that to be built into the
Yeah.
world, into
Yeah.
the foundation. I
Yeah.
don't want floating stuff. I want that built into the world. I
Integration.
want slopes,
Like Super
hills,
Mario Odyssey and Sunshine.
corkscrews. It doesn't need to look like Green Hill Zone, but just
It
built
shouldn't.
but make this world look like it's in Sonic's universe. I don't want flat plains again. You know, just
Hey, Ares Island wasn't really flat. At least you can give it to that.
it was the reason why I don't
Yeah,
hate
Ares
Ares
got
Island
them
is
curves, bro.
actually specifically because of the rails. Because I have so much fun rail launching.
Yeah,
that-
Ares was my favorite easily.
Facts. Facts.
You know, it's actually fun. So yeah, no, rail launching is a huge part of why I actually like Frontiers and why I think it's a good foundation and why this doesn't need to get thrown out. Like they have the ideas there. We just need that same type of freedom on foot.
We need SA1
I
spin
agree.
dash.
I just
Yeah.
think they need to drop some RPG elements and just go all Sonic.
Yeah.
I would also say too, like the combat, like you could add to that. Like you could keep these moves, but like add like the skill tree needs to be like ×3. Like I want moves. I want the tornado from Sonic Heroes. I want like the barrel roll from SA2. Like I want like every move Sonic's ever had. I want in this game, and then I also want new ones.
You know what? Let's jump into that actually. Oh boy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Coliniao. He says, "You already know." Sonic Unleashed combat versus Sonic Frontiers combat. Now that
God
we've actually
damn
played
it.
it.
All right.
Here's
We're gonna be here forever. Oh,
This is how it goes down. Okay.
All right, how does it go down?
They had a good foundation in Frontiers.
Oh boy.
But they fumbled the bag.
I
Simple as
don't
that.
think they did. I really don't.
nah,
think they
Prem.
did.
Tell
put
me
it
how
this
they
way.
fumbled it back. Tell me.
This is how they fumbled the bag, okay? Unleashed has better bosses.
Okay, that I do kind of agree. With
Simply, it does.
Kind
Like, go back and
Somewhat.
look at the Unleashed bosses and the mechanics and the attacks and the strategies you had to use to defeat them, and
Yeah.
compare it to switching rails to avoid circular dots. Right? I'm just saying, they had good movement. It was fast paced in Frontiers. It had nice moves, but you're just gonna spam the OP ones anyway, or use the auto combo if you suck. So you don't really have to learn all the moves anyway. And then the bosses weren't as interesting. So it's like movement foundation was nice, but then the depth was limiting because they didn't require the depth to actually defeat most of these enemies. You know, you could spend most of your
Same
time
with
button
Unleashed.
mashing.
I mean,
Yeah, but Unleashed had more intricate bosses, right? If you compare the bosses in Frontiers to
Kinda.
bosses in Unleashed, you had to
This
do
is-
more things.
yeah, I
these
did
are
like
two,
Unleash's bosses
in my
a lot.
opinion, and you're not gonna like my answer. These are two completely different gameplay styles. It's hard to compare them.
Yeah,
They're two
that
completely
hard,
different
I
ones.
was about to say that because like I think
So
Unleash's combat might be better, but that's unfair because it's literally locked behind an entire playstyle.
Yeah, now, I get what you mean, Prem. Like like definitely should be like. I think the main thing that Frontiers needed when it comes to combat is a secondary effect. Every single move in that skill tree does the same thing, hurt the enemy. They need to have secondary effects where like you could like an Unleash, like you could pick up the enemy and throw them, or you could hit them together in your
Yeah.
hands. Like
Yeah.
you need to have secondary effects. In that regard, yeah, they didn't fully see the potential of Sonic combat, but it's so hard to compare it directly to Unleashed because it's like it's
But even day stage bosses as well, like in terms of like the attack
No.
patterns and things like that.
no I'm sorry, the day
They're all the
stage bosses
same.
were all the same.
just
You
chase
boosted
the
them.
Eggman beetle thingy and then hit it when it opens. That's it.
And it was a goaded boss. All right,
No,
those
it
were
was
some
not.
goaded
Oh, no,
bosses.
I-
man.
those-
I think
at the
Eggman Soul was
time-
a solid boss.
I think
For
those
the
bosses
time,
are
they
all
were
like
good
janky. To
like,
me, they're janky.
They still
for the
good.
time, those were really great spectacles, and that's kind of what Frontiers does here. Is like a lot of even the Titan bosses, they're spectacle, but like they're cool though. Then that's actually why I like it. Is I like when bosses are like spectacle. I do like that. And Unleashed in 2008, boosting super fast and hitting that beetle and watching Eggman go flipping, like I liked that.
Yeah.
But do you know what, there's
But
another
do
thing
I?
as well.
But do I want
It
him to
looks
always be
cool,
like that?
but-
No.
There's
like-
another thing as well that people aren't talking about though, and it's like we kind of mentioned it, but like the skill tree, everything doing the same thing. Like if you remember, there was that bubblegum enemy in Frontiers where you use that sonic boom effect on it to defeat it. That was the only enemy that I couldn't just use the attack button and defeat. Like every other enemy you could pretty much just attack, right? And this goes back to like even Sonic Heroes, right? Where a lot of people will see an enemy, especially people who don't know how to play the game, will see an enemy and just spam like Sonic Home and attack. But it's like, well, this enemy is in the sky, so you're supposed to thunder shoot, or this enemy's got a shield, so you should probably tornado it. There's actual strategy, but with
It's
the
rock, paper,
Frontiers
scissors.
enemies-
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like rock,
that's
paper,
what-
scissors.
That's what Frontiers needs. It needs to have
Yeah.
those secondary
Whereas the
effects.
Frontiers, it was like every single ability was just like, okay, each one of these will attack the same way. So just pick the one that is the fastest, aka the Sonic Boom, or the one you unlock later with the hands opening kind of thing.
Yeah. No, they definitely they need to add more to it. It needs
I want
to
Sonic
have,
to have a
like-
sword.
I
in
think
it.
it's less on the abilities, it's more on the enemy design. Just
Yeah,
they're not
I mean,
they're not aggressive
It's
enough.
both.
yeah. Enemy design, like, because a lot of the time it just felt like you're waiting for the health to go down because I'm not really going to die from a lot of these attacks. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Unleashed and Frontiers actually kind of have the same problem with enemy design, but I just think Frontiers is more fun. It's just more fun to do stuff. Simply.
I don't need to hit an hourglass before playing the combat part.
Ooh. Okay.
Well, there's hourglass in Frontiers though. You still have to hit them.
Oh,
Alright,
and just
alright.
some stuff is like really babied in Frontiers. Infinite parry button, Sonic Boom having
Oh,
no
that
cooldown.
was
Yeah, no, this
stupid.
is
That was-
baby's
oh
first
my-
step into open world. Like that's literally what this game
Dude,
is.
Yeah,
I
This is like-
hated that so
And
much.
I don't
doesn't
like
make
that.
sense though, because you know the quick side loop, right? It has a meter. You can't just use it forever. You have to like combo to get it back. Why is Sonic Boom not like that? You can just hold it forever until he touches the ground. That's so stupid to me. I don't get that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this is kind of a fun question here. By a video gamer, do you think the next game will be Adventure 3 after
No.
seeing the ending?
No.
Oh.
All right, next.
Wait,
I
everyone pause.
do have something to say about Adventure 3.
All right, listen.
Really?
Do I think the game is going to be called Sonic Adventure 3? No, that's happening when Sega is about to go bankrupt.
That's the hell. Yeah.
That's all
Yeah,
reliable.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the big red button on
No pun intended. Big Red
Totomi's
Button.
desk.
It'll
Now,
be Sonic 06 too. 'Cause they'll have no
Now-
money.
do I think this is what I think. Frontiers ends with all the characters going their own way. Tails wants to go at it alone. Amy wants to do her own thing, and Knuckles wants to go back to protecting the Master Emerald.
And Sonic's doing drugs.
And Sonic's doing hard cocaine. What?
They got 5 years to do that before Frontiers 2, and then they'll
But
come
like
back.
I got,
Breaking
but like,
Bad?
but now I'm not saying it's gonna be Adventure 3, but that
Sam
sounds-
already knows.
It sounds to me like an adventure styled game, bro. Like it sounds like we're gonna be playing different stories with different characters,
No.
and they're gonna be doing their own thing.
I don't think so. I don't think they're smart
Maybe it's
enough for that.
segueing into the modern 2D game that leaked with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy playable. Remember that?
I think all of that
What, Sonic
stuff
Rift?
is gonna happen off screen.
Oh no, not that. No, the Zippo one. He talked
Sonic
about that.
Rose,
As well.
which one are we talking about?
No,
Sonic
the Zippo.
Rose.
There was a Sonic 5 like leak that involved modern 2D gameplay of
Sonic
Sonic, Tails,
5.
Knuckles, and
Oh,
Amy.
the 2D, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, you know, Sam pretty much just said what I was thinking. Like, we might get something very similar to Adventure 3, but not called Adventure 3.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it is. Like, why they're building up to something? Like, why is
Yeah.
everyone? Why is they didn't just write everyone's going their own way for the sake of doing it? Like, they have some plan. They're planning the next 10 years. They know what's happening. So like they
What if it is Adventure 3?
they have. I mean, maybe I don't know.
Bazooka
But
keeps
like,
talking about it
to
like,
me-
nonstop.
to me, Knuckles just wants to guard the Master Emerald. Tails wants to become independent, and Amy is trying to love again. What the does that sound like?
Yeah.
Like,
But we're, you know, this could very easily just happen off screen, and it's just like, yo, what's up, Sonic? And the next
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
long time no see. And then it's next.
Yeah. All right. So this next one also has something to do with adventure by Unleash. I think he's just Sonic Tuber. I don't know. Based on Sonic Frontiers, do you have faith that they could nail some Sonic Adventure remakes? I have a strong opinion
No.
about this.
No, not at all.
no.
No.
Azúcar
play like
he has to be the director.
He has to be director, and I want to see some momentum before I ever see them attempt like Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, no.
It's a hard no for me.
moment I see them understand a spin dash jump, then they're not touching adventure.
Yeah, because not only does it take like the knowledge of needing to put in a spin dash jump to adventure, but you also have to like fine tune it, make it feel good, because the adventure games control so dang well mapping of
yeah.
the side, but like,
Like real talk. This is why it's so hard for me when people defend cyberspace, because I've literally just been playing Spark the Electric Jester 3, which controls so well. So when they talk about like adventure and adventure 3 or adventure remakes of this engine or whatever, it's just like they haven't nailed that that movement and why we love that movement. I feel like even the rail jumping, I feel like they did that by accident. They didn't realize how important it was to us, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I can't trust them with something like that.
Okay, yeah. So I could actually chime in a little bit on this. Because this is something people even asked me on my live streams, was like regarding rail launching. Like, because we talked about it in speed trats, people are like, you know, was this intentional? And I'm fully honest. I'm like, I don't think it was intentional, but they're definitely embracing it, and I think that's a good thing. Like they're seeing like, oh wait, like, because you know,
Wait.
at the end of the day, like
Sonic fans like momentum? What?
You know, because at the end of the day, like, you know, they have to greenlight, you know, the speed strats, and they at first, and I mentioned like they did ask like, wait, what is this? And you know, they backed it, and I think that's great. And I give serious kudos to Sega for allowing that, because it's no different than like those moves like a lot of people use in Smash tournaments. It's like those weren't intentional, but it's embraced.
Yeah.
Like cancels, like all that stuff. Like those weren't intentional, but
Like,
it's a huge part.
which
You
is
showed
why
it to them
Sonic's
and they
banned
said,
from
"What is
Smash
this?"
tournaments online.
We made this? Hello?
It's not necessarily like what is this, but like it's more so like yeah, like we have to explain it, and
This
it's
is momentum. You did this.
well,
20 years ago.
no, it's not like that, but it's just like, you know, so like seriously, like kudos to them, like they didn't have to, but they do, and I think that's a good sign for the future, though. It's like they know what people like, and they're seeing what people like about it, and you know, it's just one of those things. It's just like Smash.
Well, I hope they
It's
don't
just like
forget it.
Smash.
All right.
They
I
won't.
feel like they've always thrown things at the wall to see what sticks, but then they forget to go and actually check to see what sticks. So then they just pick things for the next game. I don't know. It's like they do this rail launching thing by accident, supposedly, and it's really cool. And then the next game, when they're tweaking the physics, and they take it out, and then they give us something else that we like. And it's like, why did you take that thing out? You know, I don't know.
Oh, I think, you know, Azuka, I think Sonic fans want to see Green Hill again.
Well, it's because of, I think, critics. Because a lot of critics are bad at Sonic. And when there's a lot of stuff going on, they're like, oh, they don't like this. Let's dumb it down. That's why there's no drift, no short hop, no pretty much anything you'd want in like Forces.
And
like
yet
Nakamura said it was too difficult in previous Sonic games.
Yet, I feel like Sega's shooting themselves in the foot. I feel like a lot of the dumbing down they did caused critics to review the game even poorly than it would have. Like, I feel like the parry should have been on time. Like, why should you hold a parry? That is dumb.
I mean, different critics are different though, because I saw some critics like saying that the combat was fine and they digested it well, and then others saying it was too easy, and others saying it was too hard. So at the end of the day, you can't really appease every critic. You make a tougher game, critics who like that will embrace that. You make a game that's too easy, and critics that want to challenge will feel like you're babying them. And it's just kind of the same with like fans.
Because like Unleashed, let's be honest, that game is hard. Like even as a Sonic fan, it's a harder.
No,
Sonic.
Unleash is hard, and that's my main thing when I do talk
Well, it's
about
based.
like you guys mentioned, like, oh man, like the Werehog has so many things. It's like it does, and I haven't used half of them because the combos needed to memorize those are literally insane.
There's games like
you actually use them.
There's games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring that have so many mechanics, and critics will always allow it in those games, but because Sonic is seen as a kiddie, it's like you're not allowed to have anything in it.
Are synonymous with hard games. Like people go in expecting a hard time and dying 2,000 times, and that literally that meme of you died is because that game is hard as balls. When they pick up a Sonic game, they expect Goo Goo Gaga Baby.
Yes, but again,
baby, no, but we should definitely not give them Elder Scrolls. Like
this is the thing I'm talking about with like they said themselves they wanted to be AAA again. They wanted to be they wanted Sonic to be on the top of the game market again.
Absolutely.
And what is it that AAA games do? They have actual properly defined difficulty options, not
skill
the
gaps.
quote unquote hard mode
gaps
that they had in Frontiers, which didn't really feel like much of a hard mode, right? They could have done the actual scaling of difficulty where you have the baby mode, you have the normal mode, and you actually have that hard mode that really takes advantage of the attacks of the bosses and the mechanics.
I'm not denying that they could have changed. They definitely could have made it progress better, and they could have definitely had a harder difficulty and like simple stuff. Like again, like the parry. Like I don't want to hold it. I want to time it. And I want the combat to have more to it than just smashing or mashing the button. But like, it's just one of those things though, where like, it's like it goes back to Unleash. It's like I don't like comparing this to Unleash because I don't think Unleash did it well. I mean, the score of Unleash when it first came out is not IGN
Don't
score,
you dare.
but like the casual gamer score, the general consensus score of Unleashed proved that they didn't do it well. Like that's not how you should do Sonic combat.
I'm sad.
It can't be like that.
You know what? This is a good time to transition into a topic that Prem brought up earlier, because I feel like we're already, like, subconsciously transitioning into it. Prem gave us this topic. What does Sonic need to be AAA again?
A budget.
Yeah.
Yep.
A budget. A budget. Yeah, like
Better animations.
Budget, staff, more quality.
You're looking at more of
of
the business side of things, though. I was talking about the specifics, like
Yeah.
in the games themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
because I
don't know.
really had a lot of fun with Sonic Frontiers, but there are so many, like, it is so unpolished, man. Like, it even makes Sonic Forces look polished. Like, it's actually kind of sad how
The Elder Coco leveling up.
disgusting Frontiers
Like,
kind of is.
Like you
I don't
could
know
like it's
about
not
that
hard to
much.
clip through Giganto. Like you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
there's jank all over this game, and I think maybe it is me looking at the business side of thing, but I think that just comes at like they need more people, they need a bigger budget, they need more people.
Is it
They
bad
need more
to say that I
they
find
need
most
they
of
need
that
to be
jank fun
dedicated
though?
to that. Well, people make the game.
I feel like you can make fun mechanics and make like creative ways to tackle certain situations without making the game unnecessarily jank, you know?
I don't
Yeah.
think
I mean-
Frontiers is unnecessarily jank though.
I don't know, man. It's pretty jank, man. Like
But I feel like it doesn't really get in the way of gameplay like that.
I feel like
It's
it
more
does
just, like,
a lot of
goofiness.
times. Like,
It's not no Pokemon Scarlet. I'll tell
okay,
you
it's
that.
not that bad, but like right out the gate, you go to Ashura and like it's pretty jank trying to climb that and actually hit the
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
I agree with the sure. I think that boss fight is jank. Like it's not unplayable. It's just odd the way you just fly.
Yeah.
The animations, cyberspace, there's so many like jank and weird things about this game that just doesn't work right. Like when Sonic jumps off a rail, why does he stay in that one pose? That it looks
Yeah,
so odd.
yeah.
The rails are the glitchiest. What probably these are the glitchiest rails we've seen since Heroes, and I fully believe that.
no.
Yeah.
I will boot this game up right now, and I'll show you all the broken rails. There's
I
time.
have
There are
got
rails in this
clips.
game.
I
There
knew
are
he was
rails in
gonna
this
say that.
game.
He
Where-
got
you guys
clips
remember-
again.
Okay, you guys
There you go.
remember the IGN footage where Sonic did the wrong animation when he changes rails? That happens a lot in the game. Spoiler alert. But also, there's literally like 10 plus rails that are always broken. Where if you try to rail switch while boosting, he will go shooting in the opposite direction
Yeah.
for no reason. These are the glitchiest rails since Heroes.
They're
First
fun,
of all,
though.
rail
They're not
switching
as
in
bad
SA2
as
was jank
Heroes,
as well.
but it's getting there.
Okay, listen. All right.
Heroes is still the
Rails-
worst rails. in the series.
Heroes,
I
Heroes,
hate that, man.
No, I
Heroes had
disagree.
Heroes had the best rails.
No, what? What?
They had
Nah,
to dumb
bro,
them
I-
down in the boost. They had to They had
I
to
love
dumb them down
Heroes,
in the
but
boost
no.
games just so that they could work. I
Prem.
will take the jank
Prem.
with the more intricate level design of Heroes.
Sonic Unleash has great rail grinding, and then Sonic Adventure 2 has such intricate like
Like, I'm gonna be
momentum
honest,
with
Matt,
its rail
there's-
grinding.
there's
What?
nothing great
switch
about
left to right,
Unleashed.
and that's it.
You're holding boost.
Yeah,
it's-
and that's a
it's
lot better than
it's
falling
automation.
off the map, all right?
They literally had to strip down the rail gameplay so that it would be less jank. And that's the thing
Nah.
about jank
Isn't
is
that a
that
good thing?
when you make
You
it
wanna talk
when,
about
when you
worse
make it too
rails?
rigid, when you make it too rigid,
What?
the worst rails are 06. And I love 06, but the worst rails are 06.
No, I
No,
mean
it
that's
is
true.
Heroes.
06 is pretty bad.
Yeah,
But listen, like we can't deny the rails in Heroes.
Sonic Heroes rails are the worst.
Literally, I look back to when I played that game as a kid, and the number one cause of death was Rail Canyon.
Yeah.
I can't stress that enough.
Where is the clip that I sent Jayden the other day?
No, we're not here to defend
I know
heroes.
what he's talking about. It's him rail switching back and forth.
Look,
But what I was
I'm
saying is,
I'm
in
not
that
denying there's no
when you're
change.
going fast, the rails are bad in Heroes.
But anyways, that's beside the point. The rails in Frontiers are buggy. They got jank, and I think that's the whole point. Is like this game does have jank, and like that's the main thing with this game. And this ties into also the last question. Like, what do they need to change? They need polish. The animation team needs to add more frames of animation. They need to clean it up. I look at games like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and that game, while the mocap could be weird at times, it looks good. Like they need the animations to be cleaned, and they need polish on mechanics.
Even with games like Crash Bandicoot, which isn't like being boosted by being a console exclusive, like even those games have great animation, and Sonic is still here looking jank.
Yeah, no, I think that's the main thing that like prevents Sonic from looking super AAA is the fact that it just looks janky. Like the animations are not fluid. There's no like they want to do spectacle and they want to act like anime, and that's all cool and all, but it also needs to look cool too. Like you need to animate this, and then you need
Because their team's small.
Sonic,
But there's a lot more to it than that, though. I mean, we talk about like the animations and like jank and glitches, but even AAA games have got like tons of glitches in them. I think it's a lack of overall features and quality of life stuff. Like let's be real, right? Why has Sonic games, this is just one particular example, but why have they been so behind when it comes to like online multiplayer for like a AAA kind of game, right? Why have they been so behind to do things
in general?
Yeah, but I mean, this is an open zone. Are you telling me they couldn't have found a single way where Tails and Knuckles could have been playable in a multiplayer mode, at all?
I mean, look at Mario Odyssey. They had like the balloons thing, like.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but Nintendo are not the gold standard of online either.
But where is the gold standard for like these?
Here's an example. Me and you are playing online. I'm playing as Sonic. You're playing as Tails, and they say first to collect 100 memory tokens wins. And you go online and you go, okay, who can run through Chronos the fastest? And you can't get the same items, for example. So you have to. If I get there first, you have to go somewhere else. Like that's an example of something they could have done.
I mean, that does sound fire, but
I don't know.
I don't know if that's necessarily the direction they have to go down.
I would say like a new game plus or like post game content.
Oh yeah, that as well, of course. Like boss rush, the ability to select bosses. There should have been rankings on the bosses to actually incentivize you to not spam the same move, which is another reason why I like Unleashed Combat more, because like the bosses actually have rankings. The Guardians don't. You know, but
yeah, there's no online rankings either for this game, which is odd.
Yeah, that is kind of cringe, nay, baby. And also, like...
no photo mode.
Yeah, no photo mode. You have to change cosmetics in the main menu.
And there's barely any cosmetics, which they really slept on that as well.
Yeah, like what? Yeah. All right. You know what? Speaking of cosmetics, we can kind of work this into our final 4 questions that are all here for fun. They're not really to be taken serious. What are some of your guys' favorite mods for Sonic Frontiers? Asked by Luke Station.
06 Sonic, Jason Griffith voice mod, improved physics, and quick boot, and the thing that fixes the Elder Coco.
I just want to point out that those first 2 mods are null.
Yeah, Jason and Sonic 06. What?
Those are null, bro. Anyways, what I was gonna say was I personally have not tried any mods yet. I want to soon on stream. But what I will say is what I've seen so far is 2 things. 1, the simple ability to just replay the Titan bosses, and 2, or actually this should be 1, just momentum jump, like allowing the jump that he has on the rails to be on it with him on foot. Like I just want to be able to ramp off of things and fly into the sky and feel alive. That's it.
I do have something to say about the tweaked physics, and I don't know if it has been updated, and I've gotten beats about this, and I rattled him out. I don't think the momentum physics are good on the tweaked physics. Like I feel like it's a little too overpowered. It's not tweaked right.
I have seen. I did watch some friends play it, and I actually mentioned that. And I think the main where it really looks overpowered is cyberspace. But I think I think this all comes down to the fact that the world just wasn't designed with that in mind. That's really what it is. Is like we have the gameplay style we want, but the world is not designed for it. So that's where people need to make their own custom worlds and mess with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I like that though, just because it goes to show us like what could have been.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Best mods for me: Unleashed model, Unleashed reticle, and there's this new mod called Hedgehog May Cry where it like rebalances the gameplay. Bosses are more aggressive, and Sonic can't make infinite side loop rings, and does a bunch of other stuff like with the parry. That's really fun. It makes the combat more fun. Elder Coco one is goated. And I have one that like names all the cyberspace levels is really helpful. So that's my favorite.
Really liked the Unleash model until I noticed the middle quill is just stuck up in the middle, and I hate it. I can't play as with that model anymore. I can't do it.
That model looks great. And
No, dude, when you're boosting, look at the middle quill. Like, you can't unsee it once you see it, man.
I'll put it up right now.
Like, look at it from the side. It looks weird, man. But besides that, mods have been fun. So, Prem, how's the experience been with 06 Sonic?
Pretty lit, because that was the first character mod to get animation changes. So they got the 06 hands animation in there now.
Gross.
06 boys for life.
Or helper looking hands.
I don't like the 06 model like that, but that's a hot take, I guess.
No, most people hate the 06 model, actually. It's always been an unpopular take to like the 06 models.
Gumby.
I liked it when I was like 7.
I don't know. I don't think I hate it, but like, it doesn't work in anything else outside of 06.
Try animating that one. If you thought Sonic couldn't animate now, try animating that model and let me know how you
I
go.
feel like the 06 model has always worked in like photorealistic environments, less in cartoony environments though, you know. That's why I don't use it in Generations. In Generations, I just use the regular Sonic model there, obviously with Jason Griffith, but you know.
Alright.
Bracelet.
Well, our next question. This is another fun question by Xpull.
There it is.
God.
Who has the fastest time in 1-2?
I don't play
Alright.
Cyberspace.
That'll be me. I know for a fact none of y'all beat my time because it took me like 2 hours on stream to get this.
What's your time?
He got
I
44
got
seconds
44
and 65 milliseconds.
I didn't hear a single word anybody said.
I said that I probably haven't even spent 2 hours in Cyberspace total.
44 seconds for me. 44 65.
Okay, yeah.
I put it in chat right there. What made it fun, and I'll go into that real quick. It's another thing that like it's just one of the things that the fans like, you know, found. It's something called well, there's no real name for
Breaking
it.
the game.
Calling it like home and cancel. It's like a home and cancel.
That made Cyberspace fun for me.
And that's I've been experimenting with it, and it's funny how such a simple move changes the entire game for me, because now I still don't think Cyberspace is good. I think it's lazy, but when they have those rare moments where the stage is designed pretty well, that homing cancel is so freaking fun.
Exactly.
You see,
So
have you
fun.
done 4-3?
I have not tried that yet, but I want to.
Speedrunning that level is so much fun. I spent like 3 hours just doing it over and over.
Homing cancel is like, you guys remember know with Unleashed, like people were able to like speedrun by like quick
The
stepping
M speed,
and-
deep speed thing.
Yeah.
This is this game's version of that, and it is probably the most satisfying thing on planet Earth.
Yeah,
It's
and
so cool.
that's the thing about Sonic games. I think this is what it really proves, is that Sonic fans, and this is really why we need momentum back, Sonic fans love to play a Sonic game and manipulate the controls and the level design in a way that it feels like they're completing the level in an efficient way that nobody else could.
I also think the games need to incentivize this more because the reason 1-2 is so popular is because that level was so hard to S rank, and people were just like, "What the heck? I want the S rank." So people would replay it over and over and would
Facts.
do.
Do you believe it was
certain things.
intentional?
They would what?
Do you believe the time was intentional?
No.
They,
No.
I don't know because it sounds like when Alpharad talked about it to the people there in Hawaii, the officials, they giggled. They're like, "Yeah, we know," and it's like, "Oh." So
Maybe they just didn't want to fix it.
maybe it was intentional, but I do think this game needs to have more progression. Like I do think that was intentionally hard, yes, but I do think they didn't care about the other zones like they should have.
Maybe they
needed
thought
to-
the others were hard. And they're like,
I really agree with you, Sam. I've been preaching for this for so long, but like, you know how you get the keys in the Crash Bandicoot games, or you have to like complete the level by the slim hair on your head? Like that is what I want.
game
from,
needs to
like,
incentivize
Sonic.
it.
relics,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I want for S ranks for Sonic games.
they need someone to go through before this game releases, play through them to the best of their ability, and say, okay, that's the standard, like right there, like that's S rank, and then like start from there. Like don't, like stop like making these levels like,
Babying
super
us.
easy. What'd you say?
Stop babying us.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, my time is 44 seconds and 44.65.
All right. Our next question by Average Burger Boy. Now, I already talked about this in my recent video where I talked all about Big's fishing, but what's your guys' favorite fish in Sonic Frontiers?
the goalpost.
The tire.
Probably the chest. I don't know. It's just so random to just fish for a chest.
I'd say the king salmon. You know.
I just think it's so funny, the idea that someone at Sonic Team had to have spent the last 5 years doing nothing but making super hyper realistic models of fish and animating them.
Yeah.
Those fish have the best goddamn animations in the entire game, and it's so weird.
The fishing was probably the most AAA thing about the game.
Like, why?
There's a lot of animations in this game that are really good that aren't attached to Sonic.
Why is there hyper realistic alligators, but Vector the crocodile is like anamorphic? And like people, like I don't get it. Like we had alligators before in the Sonic series, which is in Sonic Heroes, but it was a giant alligator. So that was like,
Yeah.
I believe that in the Sonic world. Why is there a realistic ass alligator?
I don't know.
What's happening?
Pretty cool though.
Yeah.
I actually unironically love the fishing minigame. But
I do too, but I do have
Fun.
one major complaint aside from the alligator.
Was-
Where the
on.
fuck is Froggy?
You're right. I
Yeah.
thought you were about
He's
to.
not in this game. How is Big there without
Yeah.
Froggy? They didn't even put him on his shoulder or nothing. He's not even there.
I thought you were about to defend Sonic Adventures fishing again. So,
No,
do you still think
It's not
Sonic
that
Adventures
bad.
fishing is better?
no.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
that's a good take.
You scared me last time on the last.
That was
discussion we
my
had.
take. That's another example. That was my take before I played the game, so I stuck with it.
Before you played the game.
Wow.
Okay.
2 months ago.
Anyways, final question. Is Sonic Frontiers truly better than Sonic Adventure 2?
Hell no.
Wow. That's actually, you know what?
I'm mixed
So-
on this one, and
So I'm
Ooh.
mixed, and the reason why is because I
What?
look at SA2.
Oh,
So I
I'm
was
stand
saying,
up.
so I've been saying this. This game is going to be a lot of kids SA2.
facts.
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
don't
but-
say that.
The
Or a
reason,
lot of kids SA1, maybe.
but comparing the two, it's hard because they played it completely differently. But there are moments in SA2 that also has that jank that this game has. Like, did people like playing as Eggman and Tails in SA2? I remember
Yes.
them not
Yes.
He loved it.
I don't know.
Yes.
It was aight. It was.
It
No,
was so
no,
cool,
I
bro. You got to
remember.
play
No,
as the
back
villain.
then
That's so
people
cool.
did not like it. That was the answer. You answered wrong. Back then
I
people
liked
did
it.
not like those. And another thing, the treasure hunting also was annoying to people.
I mean,
feel
isn't
like
the whole open zone treasure hunting?
Okay.
Like,
No.
when you say
Um,
people, you're referring to the Sonic Boomers. That's what I'm gonna call them. The Sonic Boomers.
Sonic
the people that
boomers,
grew up
critics,
playing
but also
classic.
critic. No, back then, like even critics back then, like people people
But
back
yet, the
then
game has an
were
89.
literally screaming at the sun, "We just want Sonic," which is what led to Sega getting rid of all the characters for so long. By the way, but
I don't think SA2 is what led to that because Heroes
Probably
won a Guinness
SA1.
World Record for like.
no, it's not
most built
necessarily
characters.
that. They want to go fast in the game, and whenever there was another character, they would make it where those characters didn't go fast. You would have the tail shooting, the Knuckles treasure hunting,
Okay.
but they wanted the fast gameplay. They wanted the Sonic and Shadow gameplay. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, it took them until Unleashed before they really changed course and said,
So
okay.
it's weird. So I would argue Frontiers is more consistent than SA2.
But SA2 got
no,
the higher.
well,
I
it's
don't
but
know, man.
cyberspace,
I don't
though.
know.
Cyberspace is not consistent.
Well, cyberspace is optional. That's a thing. Like that's a.
I mean,
that's the
I guess
point
if you
I'm
want
trying
to, if you want to fish, and I guess. It's
Well, no, you can also get it in the open world if you want to go play forever. You can. My point is though, it's like I don't know. SA2, it's more linear. It's a different. It feels like hard to compare. It's just when it comes to the only thing I can look at each game is like, okay, how consistent was each game, and I feel like Frontiers was more consistent than SA2. SA2 had had many different like
Yeah.
styles. Where like, if you didn't like one, you're
Wait,
stuck with it.
okay.
I mean,
let me
hold on,
say this.
hold on.
Just because it's optional that doesn't mean it's more consistent because we're talking about the quality of the content, right? So I would still say
I don't
SA2
know,
is
man.
probably a
If
more
I had the
consistent.
option to avoid like mech stages and Knuckles Emerald on stages, I might say SA2 is better. Just saying.
But I don't like the notion that there's like more things going on in SA2 than Frontiers simply because it's in a certain order, right? Because in Frontiers, you're doing open zone stuff, then you're doing cyberspace, then you're doing fishing, then you're doing combat, all in the same game, right? So like SA2 having mech shooting and treasure hunting. I mean, yes, you could have more freedom on what you choose to do in Frontiers, but there are still multiple different, completely different gameplay styles in the same game, right?
Yes, but my point is if you don't like one gameplay style in SA2, you have to play that gameplay.
Yeah.
No, of course,
In
of course.
Frontiers,
Yeah.
you at least have options. That's my point. Is like at the very least you have options.
Yeah.
So it's hard to compare because they're two completely differently structured games.
I think I can compare them pretty well. Yeah, I want to agree with you, Sam. I feel like playing from beginning to end, Sonic Adventure 2, I don't think the Emerald on stages or the mech stages are necessarily bad, but
They're not bad. No, I don't hate them.
the
but-
ratio.
I think the Eggman levels are S tier, but that's me.
I
I
think,
agree. Eggman levels are amazing.
I think the ratio of the quality of those levels are kind of massive between the speed stages because, in my opinion, I think the speed stages in SA2 slaps. I think that's the best part of the game. It is so good. If I could only play the speed stages, it might be better than Frontiers, but if I wanted to play a game from beginning to end, I'm ultimately choosing Frontiers because there's a lot of Knuckles and Rouge and, tail stages I don't like in Sonic Adventure 2 that I have to play through in Frontiers, or in
like
Sonic
Chaos
Adventure 2,
Island?
but yeah, I like Chaos Island because I'd rather play through that than, some of the annoying stages that Knuckles and Rouge and the characters have in that game. But here's the thing, like, when you complete Sonic Frontiers, there's nothing to do other than replay it. With Sonic Adventure 2, you have an end
game.
Garden. Oh my,
Missions, ranking.
you have an
all
you have the
things.
Chow Garden and you
Yeah.
have the ranking with the extra mission, so it's like
There's
that-
no contest. There's no contest.
okay.
Yeah, honestly,
what?
getting
Hold
an
up.
A ranking
I would-
levels
I would
alone
probably
is like its own
argue-
game.
Hold up. Sonic Frontiers, from beginning to end, I feel like is a better game, but
But when it comes
Adventure
to the
2 is
enti-
better when you beat it.
Well, yeah, because this is what I'm thinking about right now. It's like if I had to choose between one game I had to play for the rest of my life, I'm choosing SA2.
Yeah, facts.
All right, right
Um,
choice.
because the way I'm looking at Frontiers versus SA2 is like you mentioned, Matt, like story from beginning to end, like the campaign. But that is something SA2 has that Frontiers doesn't, which is actually a huge,
Say two stories better than
Frontiers,
Frontiers,
like-
just for the record.
Way better.
a huge.
Way better.
It's on par.
Easily better.
It's
huge
Easily.
complaint
are.
I have with Frontiers is the fact that it has no end game. has 0 endgame.
Yeah.
Even in the base game though, like I'm not the biggest fan of SA2 treasure hunting. Obviously, I like the visuals and the music and the control, just not the actual hunting. But like in Frontiers, you gotta do Chronos 3 times, and the third island is like half 2D. It's like,
Well,
if I'm
okay,
comparing
you
that
say you
to
have to do
that-
Chronos 3 times. The maps are different. It was just different parts of the map that was cut up.
I mean, it's visually it gets boring. Once you're in Uranus, you're like, okay, I've seen
Well,
this.
yeah,
already.
visually they look the same, but I mean, same with the cyberspace. You know,
Uranus
like
is fun. It
Exactly, and
just,
that's bad as well.
just visually, it isn't.
but
as
they
appealing.
are different. Like in terms of design, they are.
Slightly.
Slightly,
They made more effort in SA2 to vary the when they reuse textures and things like
Have
that.
you guys seen that video of the worlds that were supposed to be all together as one? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I didn't see the video, but I saw like a thread on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for everyone watching this video, like 5 years in the future, if I don't know, people start saying Sonic Frontiers is a garbage game or something, just know at one point, Sonic Frontiers versus Sonic Adventure 2 was an actual debate.
No,
It was never a
It's not
debate.
real
No,
debate. It's not
it is a debate.
Well,
I'd
it's
say
not
it is
even
a debate.
contest,
It
bro.
is a debate, Jay.
Well, actually,
It's
that's
not.
a good point. That's a good point. I have to ask this question because I asked it last time.
Oh boy.
Is Frontiers your top 5, top 10, or top 15 main series?
When I first played it, it was top 5. It's not top 5 anymore.
It was never top 5 for me, but you know, it's cool.
I think
don't-
it's close to top 5. The reason why I can't put in my top 5 is because my top 5 is Unleashed, Adventure 1, Sonic 3, Mania, and CD. I don't see it
I-
topping any of those games.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
you
CD.
talking about CD.
Well, that's my
CD's
question.
better
Do
than
I
Heroes, man. I
do I include the 2D games in this
The
list?
Connie
Because-
version, maybe.
So, do you guys consider Rush main series or is it not?
No, it's main series. Now,
Okay.
my question is, do I include the 2D games into this top tier? Or do I
Yeah,
only do
Sure,
3D?
yeah, sure. Add 2D.
Okay, hold on. Let me think about this too.
Okay, I got mine already.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it
SA2
ain't,
is one.
it ain't
Sonic
topping
3.
Sonic
No,
3,
it's not.
CD,
It's
you
not
know.
Mania.
top 5.
Sonic Adventure, Sonic Generations, Rush, and then Frontiers is 7.
I
If we're
think
including Rush and games like that, then it's definitely not top 10.
if
And then
I'm
Unleashed and Colors
including
behind
2D games, it is just out of the top 5. Just out.
Yep.
If we're talking
agree.
3D games, I think it easily tops Gens and Colors.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
Oh yeah, if I'm
Jesus.
talking 3D games, like then it's probably number 5.
You got Heroes, you got SA1, you got Unleashed,
SA1, SA2,
Generations,
Heroes, Generations.
Hold up.
Top 5, yeah.
SA2.
The thing I'm thinking about is
Hold up.
what do I put on number 5? Unleashed or Frontiers? That's where my battle is.
Hold up.
Case
Better.
closed.
Okay, wait.
what do
A
you
better
enjoy more,
question.
Sam?
Why is Heroes on that list above both Unleashed and Frontiers?
It's
So
top
I've
5.
already
Why would you wanna
admitted
make-
this. While Heroes is
Bad?
very slippery in control and just as repetitive,
And
I love it for nostalgic reasons.
I can't believe you. Ryan.
Nostalgic
I
with the
mean-
Sam, don't do Heroes Doug like that.
Okay.
Come on.
No,
You
we're
know-
gonna do it.
At
during
least-
this.
at least you admit it.
admit when a game is nostalgic to you, Premi.
But
I love
look,
it because I grew up with it. I love it.
I grew up with Shadow the Hedgehog, and I still don't love
I
it
like
for
that game
nostalgia
too.
reasons.
I also grew up with Heroes, and it's it's mid.
Yeah,
So.
I grew up with Heroes thinking, wow, this game's so good, it's Sonic Adventure 3. I grew up and played it
It
again,
had-
I was like, I don't know.
It has the opposite effect of SA2. SA2 gets better each year.
Facts.
Heroes
Heroes,
doesn't.
Heroes
Facts.
gets better each year, but
Nah.
Heroes makes me hate it more every year. Every time we play it, man, I'm like,
I don't even
"Ah."
hate it. It's just like, just mid.
I mean, I think it's slightly below mid. Like, I think it's low-key kind of
It's
bad.
not a bad game. It's just
Well, you
tiring.
may not say it's a bad game. I'll go
I
ahead.
mean, you were
and say it is a
defending
bad game.
cyberspace, though. I mean, how are you gonna defend cyberspace
well,
with that control and then go and
look,
stand at the
look,
goal?
look. Cyberspace is still not amazing, but like the whole magnet dash thing is fun. It made it fun. I can't lie.
I mean, Heroes got way better mechanics than that. For talking about that, but you know,
Oh yeah, the rocket.
My favorite mechanic is sliding
Premi,
off.
the rocket
I love
excel
sliding off.
works 25% of the time every time.
That is like
that
one of the
works
worst.
all the time. If you know,
They
what
should have
I'm
just
saying.
had a spin dash.
Prem
Like, what-
really
what
likes
is that
repetitive
mechanic?
level design.
Well, I mean, Frontier cyberspace is literally that.
I'm not
one
defending
thing I'll give
Frontier
Heroes-
cyberspace. Hold up.
The reason
that
I actually
Azuka?
like
He went
I like to
hard.
compare Frontiers to Heroes a lot though, because I feel like Frontiers is better to play in bursts, just like Heroes, because I can't beat Heroes 100% in one setting like that.
Yeah, but that's 100%. I'm talking about like beating like a team, which is like one version of the game essentially.
Yeah, you beat a team a day.
An
Like
island
you
a
beat
day.
an island a day in Frontiers and be okay.
Yeah, I agree. Frontiers doing like an island per session is pretty good. That's
I think
actually how I
Frontiers
played
is
the
more
game.
effective though.
What'd you say?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Frontiers is more effective.
More fun. It's more fun to
Exactly.
sit down and play a whole island than play a whole team.
Yeah, you're right, Goat XV.
There's a lot of cap in this podcast, but it's cool.
All right.
All right, well, I believe that wraps things up. We've all come to a conclusion. We've all agreed upon that Heroes mid, Frontiers pretty good. Links to everyone.
We definitely not done that.
It's everyone's rating of the game.
Yeah, everyone. Actually, let's do that
Oh,
real quick.
God.
I give it a 8 out of 10.
I know Sam doesn't like ratings, but I want to hear if you have one at all.
You guys go first. I'll do it less.
8 out of 10.
Also 8 out of 10.
7, but recency bias, it might be lower afterwards.
Wow.
I'm 7.5.
All right,
Okay.
that's fair. Okay, so links
Heroes
to
10.
no. Links to everyone down below. Yeah, you can find JaydenXV, premydaremy, and his non-Sonic channel, and
Link in the
Sam
description.
Procrastinates. Yeah, of course. Anyways, that was it for this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the hour-and-a-half video. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya. Heroes mid.
Daremy out. My chill members are The Nice Guy 567, Snicks, ArcherXYZ, Bananas, JaydenXV, Ethan K78, Junior Ring, Psychman 715, Psycup, Thomas One Rye, Chip Jep Chopscape, The Squeaker Nerd, Super Shags Boom, Psych Extreme, and Super Zane Psych. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Make sure to click one of the in-card screen videos here. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Peace out.